Peace and love, everybody. Let me know where you tapped in and tuned in from in the chat. We just finishing up calls today. We still got work, though. We still got work. It's never ending. Peace and love. Let me know where you tapped in and tuned in from in the chat. Let me know your city. We gonna go over courts or for Baal. Baal is a demon. I want to talk about it. We got New York in the building, Indianapolis in the building, Cincinnati in the building, Brooklyn in the building. I just want to shout out to my school community. I love y'all. I do this for y'all. Y'all making me change my ways. Because I got so many of you. It's like, whew, it's like dealing with a woman. You know, keep so many people happy. I'm going to say it again. It's like dealing with a woman. I got to keep all these multiple personalities happy. Shout out to St. Louis. Dang, Jalen, you in St. Louis, homie? I didn't know that. We got a call this weekend. I still got to schedule y'all's calls. But all the calls that I had today went over. One person paid. So I gave them an extra half hour. I gave y'all extra 10, 15 minutes. So before I even get to what I want to talk about, courts today, shout out to Bridgeton, North County. You know exactly what I said. I'm about to bring another home health care community that way. One of my students in the past has one actually in Bridgeton. Home health care community. Let's look at my Instagram, see where y'all from. Duval, Miami, shout out to Miami, St. Louis, Texas, Guam in the building, Toronto in the building. We worldwide out here. Nashville, Tennessee, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Let's go. Riverside, Cali. Y'all's county is different, but shout out to Riverside. Dallas, Texas, Indianapolis. Appreciate y'all for tapping in and tuning in. Before I get started, though, who disagrees when I make this statement? Because this is a bold statement. Okay? Who disagrees with this? That the courts are temples of Baal. And when I say Baal, I mean B-A-A-L. Just saying that name alone should ring bells. Because who do you have to pay to get released? Think about it. So it's a temple for Baal just to get released. I'm not a licensed attorney, taxes, but I do this for educational, informational purposes only. You have to pay Baal. You have to make a sacrifice to a demon to be released. Yes. Real life, no play life. Did I not just break that down in 2 seconds? Let me know if that made sense. 100, fire emoji. In order to be released from the temples of Baal, you must contribute and sacrifice to Baal. You must pay Baal. And it's and this is something I'm not making up. Everybody says they read the Bible. Baal is said to rule the Canaanites. I want everybody to understand, if you come in from the lineage of the Bible, you are considered a Canaanite. Okay? Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel. Cain killed Abel. You come from Cain. You're a Canaanite. There's no ands, ifs, buts about it. This is why you kill your brother. This is why you hate your brother. It's in your blood. That's your tribe. You're a Canaanite. When you start learning how to utilize these terms correctly, you will establish freedom. Because you don't know how to utilize your Bible correctly. It's the same Bible that they say is a fact in the courtroom. The same Bible that make you curse upon, swear upon, curse upon. It's the same thing. You just cursed your own God that you claim to believe in. Baal is a rival of God. That's in the Bible's Old Testament, where he's the main rival of God. We can look at 1 Kings 18:25 through 29. Elijah said to the prophets of Baal, choose one of the bulls and prepare it first. Since there are so many of you, call on the name of your God, but do not light the fire. So they took the bull given them and prepared it. Then they called on the name of Baal from morning till noon. There's so many scriptures. I've counted at least 52, okay, in the King James Bible, right? And then you got different versions. Micah his son, Ray his son, Baal his son, okay? In all their villages that were around the same cities unto Baal, they were their habitations and their genealogy. When I say demographics is the graph of demons, it belongs directly to Baal. When you work for the court, you are a prophet of Baal. This ain't my information. It's in your Bible, the same Bible that y'all believe in. Let me know when I'm tripping. I said, no, you tripping, Don. You tripping, Don. Or let me know if I'm right. Can I get a fire emoji 100? Let me know that we're on the same page here. You want to argue with me? She said, hey, future baby daddy, send me an email then. Send me a DM, baby. Send me a DM. I'm trying to see what you look like. I'm looking for a future baby mama. But we not sacrificing nothing to Baal, though, okay? About time I get some fans in here. What's up, girl? What's up? What's up? But no, back to the subject. They said, I can see you're free, and I'm trying to be taught how to fish. When you study the goetic demons, I started studying demonology before I studied anything. But to me, a demon is just different aspects of the mind. Just like just like the 12 disciples. These are just different aspects of the mind, okay? But you gotta understand that Baal is a true demon. A lot of people are not. They take these Bibles. They take the Bibles literally. These are just mostly metaphors and parables. But it was used to establish law. The Ten Commandments didn't even come from God. They say it came from God. They say it came from God, but it didn't. It came from Moses. And where did Moses get it from? He was born in Egypt, so he got it from the Egyptians in the Book of the Dead. But I'm not going to get deep on that, okay? I'm not going to get deep on that. But yes, the 72 keys of Solomon. We got the goetic demons, okay? And Baal is one of them, and it's one of the lowest ranking ones. And that's who rules the court. And that's, if you're a 32 degree Mason, or up above 33, there's really no such thing as a 33 degree Mason, because there's only 32 degrees of Masonry, and the 33rd degree is honorary. A lot of people don't understand honorary degrees. It is given to you based on your character and what you've done in life, okay? Not gonna get deep, okay? Not gonna get deep on that. Make sure y'all get the full view. So y'all know I'm living that prosperous life, man. Now, if you're in my school right now listening, go ahead and click that link right there. Let me see if I can share my screen. with my members of the congregation. So this was the first place I came across this information, actually breaking it down and talking about the courts actually being a Baal. You know, the first thing that I ever came across that I want to show you guys, if you look up the word banc, the definition of banc, right? B-A-N-C. Now let me see if I can share this with y'all. Whoops. Let me see if I can share this with y'all. So the word banc means the seat on which a judge sits in court. The seat on which a judge sits in court. Ain't that some shit? So back to the temples of Baal. This is why you have to really understand the Bible. The Bible is a tool to free you, but you cannot swear upon it. Motherfucker said they chat GPT blocked them when they asked who I was. Who is Don Kilam? Block. Hold on, y'all. I'm about to get back to the lecture. I gotta see who my future baby mama is. I'm gonna hit her up later. There are people in there and say, oh, yeah. She said she back in L.A. too. I'll be there too. I'm gonna be there after this weekend. I got meetings, baby. I'll be there on Sunday. I'll see you on Sunday, baby. See you on Sunday, future baby mama. Now, yes. So what you know, when y'all start learning this information, tap it in, you're gonna start making lots of freaking financial currency, okay? And it's either gonna make you better or worse, okay? And when I get the financial currency, I'm about to check in on my future baby mama. But back to the subjects, okay? The Temple of Baal. It's getting dark, so we got the laptop screen in the motion light. Should you voluntarily traverse or subrogate? And these are key words. These are key words. So I was using the word traverse before I even knew what it meant. I thought it meant travel, okay? I'm just going to tell you right now. And I was using it. So traverse means to travel across or through. An act of traversing something. I don't like that because you're using the same word. But traverse in law means a denial of a matter or fact alleged in the opposing party's pleas, okay? Then subrogate means substitute for another in respect of a debt or insurance claim. So should you voluntarily traverse or subrogate, then you just gave your sacrifices and you're to be a good slave and stop wasting the court's time. If you hire an attorney, then you have volunteered as a sheep led to slaughter, and you will get what you deserve. How can one plead if they do not understand the nature and cause of the charges? And if one is coerced to enter a plea, then that plea should have to be non-assumpts without prejudice. A plea by which defendant avers that he did not undertake or promise as alleged by the plaintiff with no rights, waives. Black's Law, 6th edition, a better plea is plea and bar. However, one must know proper procedure to make a plea and bar really stick. Now, what I like to utilize, before I go any further, when I first started using these words is, I plead guilty to the facts, but not the crime, because a fact cannot enter a courtroom. I'll enter a negative plea under general traverse. So we're under general traverse, a negative plea. We have never made a negative avertment. We never made a negative avertment because the scales are, the scales have to be balanced. Well, you say fuck you, Your Honor, he holds you in contempt. You say you apologize, he has to release that contempt charge. Sounds crazy, don't it? But that's because you balance the scales of the negative avertment. I know regular people is not going to understand anything that I'm saying, and I apologize. This is for enlightened minds, okay? Now, if one enters a plea of not guilty, one just might as well plead nolo contendere, no contest, and get it over with, because one will lose anyway, since not guilty is a negative and it's impossible to prove a negative. Now, plea means to beg, so I don't like to even beg anyways. Why do you want to beg? If I do 2 pleas, that's please, right? You begging. Plea means to beg. So the proper plea, if you were placed in a position to have to plead, would be plea of innocence, which is a positive plea, something which can be proven. Remember, too, that these are courts of controversy. Learn ways and methods of avoiding controversy. These courts can only prevail in controversy, and this is why they make you a defendant, because you're there to defend something. I'm not here to defend anything. I plead guilty to the facts, but not the crime, under proof of claim. You understand? Now, the belligerent claimant, the privilege against self-incrimination is neither accorded to the passive resistance, nor the person who is ignorant of his rights, nor to one indifferent thereto. It is a fighting clause. Its benefits can be retained only by sustained combat. It cannot be retained by attorneys or solicitor. It is valid only when insisted upon by a belligerent claimant in person. There we go, person, persona. Know how to become one of we the people. This is real shit. The one who is persuaded by words or moral persuasion to testify or produce documents rather than make a last-ditch stand simply loses the protection. Once he testifies to depart to the charges, he has waived his right and must, on cross-examination or otherwise, testify as to the whole transaction. He must refuse to answer or produce and test the matter in contempt proceedings or by habeas corpus. United States versus Johnson, 76F. Yes, game for that ass tonight. If you understand what I'm giving, this is that mother game, I promise. So once one hires an attorney and testifies to the attorney, the enemy spy, and the officer of the court, remember, an attorney does not have a license to practice law. They have bar cards. There's no such thing as a license to practice law because anyone can practice law. It's free to all. A bar card is a membership to a private fraternity. It's a brotherhood. So once one hires an attorney and testifies to the attorney, the enemy spy, and officer of the court, which has happened, the attorney is required by law to share discovery all evidence which he obtains from his client with the prosecutor. You have the right to remain silent. Everything that you say to any of these devils can and will be used against you. Miranda versus Arizona, 384 U.S. 436, 1966. Miranda versus Arizona, 384 U.S. 436, 1966. You would be wiser to remain silent, open mouth, and serve foot. It is all a game. You are a pawn, and you have been prearranged to be a loser. Here's another good one. Learn to answer a question with a question. The master asks the questions, and the slave or servant answers. That's why I don't answer questions. I'm not Google. I'm not your mama. I'm not your daddy. You can get nothing. That's advice for nothing. You can get nothing. That's advice for nothing. We always appear sui juris. All right? Your right to contract. Sui juris. I can move quicker on Zoom class. I can move quicker, but I appreciate everybody that's tapped in and tuned in from the school today. again, in the school community and even on the Instagram community, let me know where you tapped in and tuned in from. Let me know your city. And let me know if this is making sense. If anything is not making sense in the school, in my school community right now, I say, hold up, slow up. Come again. Stay around. No, let me talk to the people that's really here, man. Listen, professionally. Tell me to stop. Say, hey. And put your subject matter. Hey, I didn't catch that. Okay? But to my people from the hood, y'all know what I meant. But look, sui juris, of age, independence. The beneficiaries are all sui juris. Your right to contract. So let's look at this definition. Then we'll look up the etymology. Using full legal rights or capacity. The reason why I would never be pro se is because that's the name of the prosecutor. Prosecutor. Pro-se-cutor. Get it? Pro se. Sui juris, Latin, of his own rights, possessing full social and civil rights, not under any legal disability or the power of another, or guardianship. Having capacity to manage one's own affairs, not under legal disability to act for oneself. Sui juris. That's the word of the day. If you're out there with me, say it with me right now. Sui juris. Your turn. Did you say it? Put in the chat if you said it. It's okay. Say it. Sui juris. Because if you fuck this word up, they're going to look at you crazy, okay? Trust me. I've been there. Don't think just Don Kilam became a genius overnight. Motherfucker was in there trying to talk about Sue, woo, and all types of shit. You hear me? They thought I was representing the Bloods or something. I ain't know how to say the word. I was given a word. I wasn't told how to say it. I'm studying. What is this word? Let me read this out, too. Let me read this. Let me read something from the school chat. They all say they love me. I love y'all, too. But look, we got West Philly in the building, too. Houston deep. Houston fucking with the kid. You feel me? So Farmer Mountain, Wood Valley, Hawaii, Big Island. Busy my ass. Came here with nothing. 12 years later, I'm living large. Don the GOAT. Come have a meal when you are here next. I appreciate you, man. I will. I love Hawaii. Y'all are great people. I'm always busy. But I had to jump on here. I feel like I'll be neglecting y'all. Because I know people be charging $100 a month or $100 a webinar, $200 a webinar. I've seen $500 a webinar, $50 a month in the school. You get webinars. I'm going to make sure you get monthly Q&As. I'm going to hop on and do monthly Q&As. Y'all shouldn't be missing the Q&As at all either. Monthly Q&As. Tap in with your boy Don Kilam so you don't got to pay that $500. And you just got a couple simple questions. You ain't got to book the consult. $500. That's what I'm charging for a half hour. I'm not going to go up. I'm not going to go down right now. But like we're booked like crazy. May is booked. We're in June starting to get booked right now. So y'all need a book with your boy Don Kilam. You know, and then right now I'm booking, showing y'all how I'm assisting, really holding y'all's hand. Let's get your business established, okay? And let's get your trust established, your holding company established, your family office established, okay? And let's circulate these funds. Let's circulate these funds with each other's businesses, and let's create some cash flow so we can get funding in 3 to 6 months. I'm gonna hold y'all's hands. Let's do it. You know, and I'm not even charging right now. I'm not charging nothing on the back end to get these loans. So sign up right now, because usually I make you pay a down payment and I charge extra on the back end. But I know the lowest you're going to get anywhere from between 10, depends on how much money you're starting off with. But anywhere from $10,000 to $500,000. Like really, depends on what you have to circulate. You know? So if you got $500, you know, we can hit that 10,000 mark easily, you know, within 3 months. If you got $5,000, we should be hitting 50,000 to 100,000 easily. We're circulating the cash flow within 3 to 6 months and getting anywhere between $50,000 to $100,000. So it's that simple. It really is that simple once you learn it. And we just added 3 more lenders. Like I gave y'all 10 lenders. I just added 3 more lenders because I just got approved with some new lenders. So shout out to the new lenders. But back to the lecture. Never appear pro se, pro per, pro anything. Never even in proper persona. Never allow the black robe devil to proclaim that you are there pro se, pro per, or pro anything. Always, always take exception. One does not object to the judge's utterances. One takes exception. One objects to the prosecutor's utterances. The Supreme Court, in all its ultimate wisdom, made this ruling about those who appear pro se. Is there any truth to the old proverb that one who is his own lawyer has a fool for a client? The court, by its opinion today, now bestows a constitutional right on one to make a fool of himself. Ferretta versus California, real shit. To become a good belligerent claimant, one needs to learn the Ferretta defense. Sui juris. This is game for y'all. I'm trying to tell you how to beat the temples of Baal. Neither the court nor the state has the right or the need to know one's family, work, military, education, or religious background. I'm going to say this again to everybody who wants to volunteer information to the motherfucking feds. You stupid motherfucker. Lord Jesus, I forgot. Y'all paid for the monthly consult. I apologize. You don't even need to volunteer any information to Macy's, J.C. Penney's, your Kroger's card. You dig what I'm saying? So neither the court nor the state has the right or the need to know one's family, work, military, education, or religious background. All that is needed is that one is able to read, write, and speak American English. So stop volunteering information. The more information one volunteers, the more these devils have to use against their victim. If one, out of necessity, must be present to represent the fiction, then your presence is not the appearance, as things unseen being the fiction are that which appears. I'm going to say it again. If one, out of necessity, must be present to represent the fiction, then your present is not the appearance, as things unseen being the fiction are that which appears. Sui juris, by one's own right, or, I can't even say this word now, but I'm going to let y'all see what it means. These are Latin, okay? This is their type of this is the language of the living that they used to say, truthfully. What pops up is the sovereign citizen movement, so don't even use the word, okay? We're not even going to use that word. Let's skip it, okay? The Lord and Master of the soil. Now, I do use just solely, the self-rule, is the matter of oneself and comes now he or she doesn't and cannot appear in the airspace above the fictional prize court. So we're just going to stick with sui juris, okay? If one ever labels you a sovereign citizen, you want to fucking object to that right away. We're not a citizen of anything. Where does this word even come from? And our sovereign authority does derive from God. Where does your sovereign authority derive from? Because you use it in your codes and statutes. There is such thing as sovereign immunity. So where does your immunity and sovereignty come from? Peace and love, peace and love. We got Farrah Franklin in the building. I'ma always say your name, baby. You hear me? Happy solar return. Hit me up. Send me your Zelle information. I'm gonna send you a Zelle. The latter requires knowledge of law to successfully use to appear pro se or pro anything is to accept a temporary appointment to the bar. So the British Accreditation Registry, the bar, attorneys are esquires, which these are royal titles. Esquires are apprentices of knights or squires. And the same thing with the word count. When they're holding you in the county jail, county, the count, the domain of a count, the jurisdiction of a count. I'm going to say it again. You have accounts. When you deal with accounts, when you deal with the county, I'm not going to just talk about it. I'm going to prove it. Because I'll be like, this nigga crazy. He crazy. Don crazy. Don smoking that wacky tobacco. He crazy. I'm about to prove it to you. I back up my claims, busters. Been smoking that shit. Some people say I'm on that white girl. No, what the? He's crazy. So look, when I discovered this, it blew my mind too. But I'm like, how am I gonna get this point across? How am I gonna get this point across? A shire. So we were just looking at shires and squires, okay? County, a shire. Jurisdiction of a count. When you talk about jurisdiction, who has jurisdiction? You just gave jurisdiction to a count when you're agreeing to this bullshit. When you're playing a fucking fictional game. When you're saying you want to be pro se. When you want to be pro per and pro. When you're doing all these. What I'm trying to show you is you're working with the devil. Your county's working with the devil. Your court's working with the devil. Baal. Royal families. These are royal families. You used to be a royal family, but they erased your history. They erased your history. You used to be a royal family. Let's go back. Why they don't teach you about black royalty in school? When we know black royalty exists. Oh, because then you might find out Jesus is black too. That's why. I fucked y'all up. Sorry, white people. I'm white too, so don't even get mad. Don't even get mad. Jesus went to Egypt because he had to blend in with his people. But let's get back to the subject. Jesus spoke in the living word. The living word was red. Everything you're dealing with the courts is black and white. So let's start there. So they're only dealing with the dead because you're under the jurisdiction of account. When you heard the word account, when you heard the word county. Hey, everybody in my school right now, let me know if you looked it up. Let me just show y'all too on the Instagram so y'all can see. Listen, this ain't nothing I'm making up. You understand what a count is, right? So in my school, in the private school, I teach people how to get how to put the royal title, so to speak, with a master deed, because you're considered land. You have the land. They put you under a property as a different jurisdiction. Okay? Let me get back to the courts of Baal. But the county, that's deep, right? That was deep. Hold on, this is why I had, I want to see the chat, see what y'all say. All right. Someone said he been messing up doing the pro se. You said I'm fair skinned. Master of the soil, that's game for a farmer. Ooh, I like that. That's bars, brother. That's some bars right there. Some bars. He said, master of the soil, that's game for a farmer. That's lit. Hey, Matt said, this is the best $50 you could ever spend in your life for this school. All right, I'll just check y'all's messages, man. I had to check in. Let's back to the subject, man. Subject matter at hand. They said, facts, Matt. Facts, Matt. You feel me? Best $50 you ever gonna spend, man. This better than Netflix. I swear to God on my mama. That's what my boy Unc say. But look, BAR, British Credit Registry. That's really what it means. Attorneys are esquires. That's how we got to the county part. They become squires, and you pay for their practice. So they're practicing on your life. That's deep right there, ain't it? They practicing on you. I don't get defense attorneys. That makes you a defender. If you want to use any attorney, you want to get a trust attorney. It should be noted that the United States Supreme Court, in all of its ultimate wisdom, gave full immunity to judges, attorneys, court reporters, stenographers, law enforcement officers, and expert witnesses such as strengths and sorcerers, it says, and psychos to testify for the state against both civil and criminal prosecution for perjury. The licensed professional receives by such license and indulgence permission by you to bear false witness against you. Damn, that's deep. The black robe devil, false accuser, is God. The defense attorney is the substitute for the son of the deity. All their officers are lesser deities. Therefore, stop using the term God, period. What part of the word? Because they do. You have to pray. So you have to pray for relief. When you look at court documents and everything, you have to pray to another man to move in relief. For real. This is facts. So I assert the natural rights given by my Creator, a.k.a. unalienable natural rights, because I am a child of the King, not a servant of Baal. Remember, there is enough evidence to convict you of being a Christian if you keep not the laws. All 679 of these, of the Book of the Law, the Geneva Bible. The King James Version is the State Religion Bible, and the NIV is the UN Bible. Then the claim to being sovereign is moot. One is not a sovereign. One is their heir elect of the sovereign. To claim sovereignty is to self-proclaim to be deity. The black robe devil, remember, he is an interner, a twister, who will do everything to trick his victim to break the law. The Creator's law, the supreme law of the land, America, the heavenly kingdom, and thereby gains jurisdiction. He only gains jurisdiction if one voluntarily gives it to him. Christians are not to take an oath or sign an affidavit in their form. And that's facts. So, when I started studying the Amish, I studied the Amish before I did anything, because these was the private communities that I was around growing up in a town called Hannibal, Missouri, right? There's counties around like Pike County, Aldrin County, Boone County, around this town the county I grew up in called Marion County. And they never go to jail. They do a lot of shit. They do drugs. They do a lot of shit. Rapes, all types of shit. They never go to jail. So I started studying them first. And they do not use their documents. They will use something similar to the documents or study their documents and create their own. Because you're volunteering your information into their jurisdiction and their artwork. It's their artwork. It's simple as that. You can only control what you create. You need to duplicate and create your own. So, however, beware that if one successful proves to be a Christian, there is a high probability that these devils will attempt to commit one to prison for the insane in order to force one to do time. Anyways, it is a loophole by which they circumvent their own laws. Primarily, they cannot imprison Christians in their system. They imprison felons, cons, and wards. Therefore, if they cannot make or convert a Christian into a felon by their con game, then this is the simple solution. Baker Act. The Christian declare the victim to be nuts, a ward of the court, and commit the Christian, then shoot the victim with drugs. The practice of sorcery. Facts. This is all facts. After a period of a few months, magically no more Christians. If they are able to perpetrate the fraud long enough, Christian is dead. Problem solved. Next, folks, this is what took place in Nazi Germany and now in the United States. That's deep. That's deep. I've seen people come in here with the sovereign spill, go to psychiatric evaluation, and now they're getting hit with a shot. Don't even remember if they took a shower or not today. Christians cannot or should not enter at the gates of Baal, nor enter contracts with the devils. And this is facts. This is a part of the Ten Commandments. Do not enter into a covenant with no one but God. And what you enter a covenant with the birth certificate. The birth certificate is a covenant outside of God. It starts there. The social security number is a covenant. Now you're buying, selling, and trading. The ID, you asking somebody for permission to travel, that's a covenant outside of God. So you've already broke the law with God, according to the King James Version. These are facts. You can't tell me that I'm wrong. Listen, I'll wait. Give me a 100. Just keep it real for once in your life. And say, Don Kilam, you're right. We make covenants with the outside of God. Because who is God? Who is God in your life? You don't need permission from nobody but God. So why are you asking permission to establish your business, to travel? You're asking them to tell you who you are. You're asking them to tell you who you are. I appreciate it. I'm getting hundreds. He says, bruh is straight waking us up. Yes, God does go by many names. He says, bro is waking us up. Islam, brother. Y'all are funny. I appreciate y'all. It's nothing magic, bro. I've just been... Listen, have a talk with yourself sometime. You'll be surprised at the answers that come to your life. OG Drunk set me down one time. He said, listen here, man, you a smart man, straight A student. I see you. How far the moon? He said, look up there. You see the moon? How far the moon? I said, man, I gotta Google it. He said, that's what all you motherfuckers do. He said, they didn't teach you how far the moon was in school. And I said, I'm sure they did, but it ain't something I remember. You know, so we looked it up, man. It's about 238,855 miles away, something like that, okay? Like 300,000 miles away. And he said, well, look up how far the eye can see. I looked it up. It's 3 miles. The eye can't see farther than 3 miles. He said, so how come you can see the moon? They lied to you already. You dig what I'm saying? That's real science right there. I don't know if y'all caught it. They got an answer for everything. You got to understand, like, what was given to me last night with my homie. I was with 607 Unc. You know, patterns might not be logical. Patterns are patterns, but we try to make sense of the pattern and try to bring logic to it. We're the one to try to bring logic to it, but some things aren't logical. You cannot see farther than 3 miles away. So don't even try to make sense of it. You cannot measure. What type of fucking tape measure did they have to measure how far away the moon is? Okay? What type of tape measure they had? What type of ruler they had? So this is when they dictate your reality. This is another form of boxing you in, because you're not understanding that you are the moon, you are the stars, you are the sun. That shit is all within you. It's within reach. Ain't no way you can build a spaceship to go there, because the moon is you. You are the moon. You understand? You can reach out and touch it. I ain't gonna get deep, though. I ain't gonna get deep. Y'all not ready, man. I'm not gonna keep saying I'm crazy. So, the temples of Baal, man. Declarations of truth. So these are signs. We do asseverations, declarations of truth, in the forms of affidavits. And they say use 28 U.S.C. 1746. 1, if possible. That's not using their notary, because notaries are bonded. All right? Notaries are bonded through the state. You can use your own witnesses, or you can use their code 28 U.S.C. 1746. That's unsworn declarations under penalty of perjury in the United States. Christians must stand firm in commons and do not go into the bar. It's best to do everything in writing outside the sanctuary of the temples of Baal. Entering security agreements with one vessel or transmitting utilities, recording a UCC-1 form, and recording 21 silver dollar surety bond beforehand for starters, followed by acceptance for value and then return for cause under lawful protest without recourse, abatement and petition for bill particulars or more definite statement, or all in good steps to secure one's freedom prior to arraignment. I know that's a lot, but do your own due diligence. Now, me personally, I'm not... I did do the UCC ones before in court. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I don't even use that trash no more. But everything else, you can do a surety bond with the 21 pieces of silver for sure. That's what they sold Jesus for. That's what's going to bail you out. Abatements have got me money back from courts as well. So this is good advice. So accepting representations, because when you get represented, that means you're represented. Appearing except by special presence or special appearance. Some people say appearance, but you can put special presence. Stating one's name on and for the record or entering plea are sure losers. Never state one. Nam, de, I can't say these words. They're Latin. Nam de juror. But I've used that before too. And what it means is an assumed name under which a person engages in combat or some other activity or enterprise. Let me just show the class. Let me show the class so y'all can see it.
Nom de guerre.
Nom de guerre. There you go. That's the word. Nom de guerre.
Nom de guerre. Nom de guerre. Nom de guerre.
I don't know if y'all can hear it, class. I don't know if y'all can hear it. But nom de guerre, an assumed name under which a person engages in combat or some other activity in enterprise. I like to put peace bonds on file too. Like, I come in peace. I'm gonna start putting these things on so y'all can. I'm gonna start putting these templates in the school for y'all, like my peace bond. So, never. A case must be won prior to or at arraignment. There are two things which these devils cannot do to their victims. It cannot arraign or sentence anyone who is without representation. Represent means to present as something other than self. Once one enters, the sharks and lions are sure to pounce on the victims. So, that's some game right there for you, right there. That's some game. So there are two things which they cannot do to the victims. Well, two things they can't do to you. They cannot arraign or sentence anyone who is without representation. Represent means to present as something other than itself. Once one enters, then they are sure to pounce on you. I hope that makes sense. It makes perfect sense to me. So it works this way. The black robe devil sends the Gestapo out to pick up the account, the trust vessel. That's the transmitted utility, or so-called straw man. The Gestapo finds you at the appointed address, your identity or accused self, and the Gestapo seizes you as the fiduciary. They then take you, the fiduciary, before the administrative magistrate, who cons or coerces you into becoming the surety. Does recording of the commercial paper and the above paragraph begin to make sense? So an attorney, the court's jester, the attorney is the court's jester, occupies a dual position which imposes dual obligation. His first duty is to the courts, the black robe devil, who is going to put you away or extort you from you as much as he can possibly take, and the public, not the client, a fool's fool. And wherever the duty to his client conflict with those he owes as an officer of the court and administrative justice, the former must yield to the latter. 7 CGAS 4. Clients are also called wards of the court in regard to their relationship with their attorneys. 7 CGS 2. Wards of the court, infants and persons of unsound mind. David's Committee versus Looney. 290 KY 644 162. You get it. That's a Black Laws Dictionary 6th edition. Wards of the court, infants and persons of unsound minds. That is what when you're a client of an attorney. All attorneys and judges have an attorney on retainer to represent them. Therefore, they are all persons of unsound minds. This is madness, but it is their law. An unlicensed practice of law. Just want you to know, you're supposed to have a license. They don't, okay? Bar cards. Simple as that, okay? There's a lot on this website too for y'all, man. I've used this. This is the website that actually helped me get out the feds. I use this information in RV Bay publications, rid of air. So I'm gonna show y'all that too really fast. But the courts are, let me know, did I show enough evidence? Writs of freedom is what it's called. Let me know, class. Did I show enough evidence that these courts belong to Baal? I started off, you have to pay the demon Baal. Baal is in the Bible. Google Baal in the Bible. Is that a real demon in the Bible? But so I used this, and then what I was just showing you, so the writs of freedom, I used all of this to combat the feds. My first time ever when I first started learning this, and it allowed my freedom. So that's when I started learning about pro se and sui juris. and filing affidavits versus motions. How we can demand to see their oath of office. So this one says do improper persona, but I don't do nothing with person in it. Because person is a persona, that's going to make you a corporation. I stay away from that word altogether. I want to be living, okay? Spelling this, spell casting. And this is why we're silver leader mortus. This is where I first learned this word. A corporation is a person. Silver leader mortus means you're dead in the eyes of the law. When you're labeled such things as Negro, colored, black, African American, this is a corporate fictitious person. This is a brand that they own. It's a sick game. There you go, motion versus affidavits. So this is where I just started to open up my eyes to learn these things. Let me know if y'all have any questions in the school. Yes, Balenciaga is a tribute to Baal. Shout out to Balenciaga. I just want y'all to know, man, everything is spiritual first. Everything starts with God first. In order to beat the demon Baal, it starts with loving. Love conquers everything. It starts with love. Demons don't know how to deal with love. So learn what the situation. Why are you even putting yourself through this situation? There's a reason why they was able to show up and put you in cuffs or put you in these situations, because you have to be corrected. So you need to learn how you're supposed to be corrected with God. That starts with you. You have a purpose. There's a reason. And if you don't figure it out, they're going to cash in on your soul. It's reaping of the soul. The judge is wearing the Grim Reaper's robe. It's the same thing as a Grim Reaper. Look up a Grim Reaper and look up your judge. It's called a mourning robe. They're mourning because you're sad. It's all magic. They tell you all rise. They just gave life to the dead, and they tell you sit back down. They took your sweat equity and they send it to places that don't have sweat equity of their own. It's a deep game. It's really the transfer of energy. It's a harvesting unit. That's what it is. That's why a bank is the seat on which a judge sits. It's used to harvest energy. But make sure your status is corrected. This is why I teach everybody to create a private family trust. That's where it starts. Private families. The private families call the shots. If you're in the public sector, you don't get to call the shots. The public sector is part of the economy that the government controls. So you got to learn how to be part of the private sector, the private family, and learn how to be maneuver within your county with the royal families. And if y'all look in the school, you can just look up, just search in the search engine Duke, right? And you're going to see that I'm a Duke. I'm going to pull it. I'm going to comment on it right now so it pulls up first when y'all go back to the school. And then you'll see where to get those. With a discount. I'm going to put that in the chat. He said, first thing he did was become a Duke. That's what's up. I want y'all to see it like this is real. And they give you a deed and everything. You could give your deed you put on around the county recorder's office. Can't make this up. A master title deed. You come from the land jurisdiction. So these are things that prove true sovereignty, so to speak. A duke is a sovereign prince, a leader, a commander. I have land, so. And then you can use these deeds to update your driver's license and everything. Your credit cards. Look. Just want to make sure y'all see it so y'all know this stuff is legit. It ain't something I'm just making up. I'm showing y'all how to really jump out that status. Quit being a slave out here in these streets. Yes, but Memorial Day weekend, 2026, we're Las Vegas with it. Yes. We're Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So tap in and tune in. I got a few slots left for Monday. We're not going to do a big gathering on Monday. Just small get-together so we can answer questions, make sure everybody gets the information that's needed. My main thing is making sure y'all in a private tax position and y'all can make this money. That's my main thing. But if y'all, I understand people got court cases and all that. I'm kind of beyond all of that, kind of over that, but that's what I do. This is what started off my whole journey, was being in court and assisting people in court cases. But my real bag came from helping people with foreclosure cases. But I love, like criminal, you know, like, because everything is civil. As long as it doesn't have a victim involved, it's really not a real crime. I want to close with that for real. I want to close with that. If it's not a real victim, it's not a real crime. You have the right to face your accuser. And here's what's going on. Trinity versus Pagliaro. An attorney for the plaintiff cannot admit evidence into the court. He's either an attorney or a witness. And what's going on is they're always the witnesses against you. The government can't be the government and be witnesses against you. And if there's no victim involved. These are all victimless crimes that's usually going on and how they're making money. So this is the route to go. All the templates are in the school. I post all the time in the school. There's so many different things for court. Just check it out. I got something in the classroom called Masters of Bonds as well that breaks down the Don Kilam's whole court process. Other than that, book a consultation, and that's how you can book those one-on-one services with your boy Don Kilam. You book a consultation first so I know that you're serious. Text Private Life to 702-200-4900, or if you're in the school, you should already have the link on how to get the book a consultation. But I appreciate y'all staying up late with me tonight. I know it's almost midnight on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast. Y'all watch the sun go down with me. We went through the twilight zone. But I'm still here. I'm still rocking. I still got work to do tonight. But I'm going to post this video in the school for everyone in the school to see. Much peace and love.